could have waited until I hit my fitness goals to film this, but instead I'm starting at the very beginning with you. Between working a 9 to 5, running a YouTube channel, caring for my pets, maintaining a social life, traveling back home every few months, and keeping up with my hobbies like yoga, working out, and my newest hobby of watercolor painting, I have a really busy schedule. And that means I need easy and effective habits if I'm going to stick with my goal of losing weight. I can imagine that you probably have a lot going on too, which is why you came to this video. So welcome. Today I want to share my fitness journey starting from the very beginning to where I am right now. Then I'm going to share 5 habits that I'm implementing this fall to help me reach my weight loss goal of 20 pounds before 2026. Let's be honest, there is a lot of fitness advice out there and it can be really overwhelming. Everyone seems to have a different opinion on what you should do if you want to lose weight. So if you're struggling like me to cut through all of that noise and to figure out which habits to implement into your schedule, which is totally fair, then you're not alone. These habits are going to be for the people who want to keep up with their busy life and their busy schedule, yet also reach their health and fitness goals of losing weight. So if that's you, keep watching. Before I get into my health and fitness journey, I want to preface this by saying I'm not a certified personal trainer yet, and I'm also not a dietitian. So if you're looking for advice on what to eat and how to train, make sure you go check out a few other YouTube channels. I'll leave a few in the description below so that you can have an idea of what you should be eating while you're in a calorie deficit, and also how to train properly in the gym. This brings me to the start of my fitness journey. Growing up, I have always been in sports. I started out by doing dancing and gymnastics when I was really young. When I was in elementary school, I switched over to ringette, and I loved ringette. I was in ringette for 5 or 6 years, and I loved it. I also did horseback riding at the same time, so I was very active, and then once I got to high school, I switched over to hockey. When I was in high school, I was playing hockey 5 times a week since I was on a few different teams, and on top of that, I was also doing horseback riding. So I had an incredibly active childhood growing up all the way until I got to university. Once I got to university, all of that structure completely disappeared. The structure of sports was no longer there, so I started going to the gym instead. But when I walked into the gym for the first time, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. For the first year that I started going to the gym, all I would do is walk and run on the track because I was too scared to touch any of the other equipment or go into any of the weightlifting stuff. All I did was walk and run on the track and do some body weight exercises and some stretching and all of that just in the same area. I did that for quite a few years, and I was also going to the gym on and off during this time. Once I reached my 4th year of university, I had met a friend who was doing weightlifting for quite some time, so she was able to take me into the gym and show me how to properly use each piece of equipment, and this also gave me the confidence to start going by myself. For the longest time, I was so scared of injuring myself. I was so scared that I was going to do something wrong, or that I was going to look stupid, or that I was going to hurt myself, and that really hindered me because I didn't even try to step into the gym. It was just so overwhelming. I didn't even want to go close to the weights. All I did was the walking and the running. So once I met her, everything in the gym completely changed because she was able to show me some easy exercises that I could do by myself where I wouldn't injure myself, and that was amazing. And at this time, I was also a student and I couldn't afford a personal trainer, so I started watching Whitney Simmons and Sarah's Day to get inspiration on what I should be doing in the gym and some gym workout routines. Once I started going to the gym consistently and I started lifting weights as well as doing cardio, this is when I really started to see a difference. And I was so happy that I was finally seeing progress after going to the gym on and off for so long. I was so hyped and so excited. I was actually seeing changes in my body. I was working towards my goals. I was so happy. But after a month, I fell off. And for the next year, all I did again was go on and off to the gym since it wasn't my top priority. School at the time was my top priority, and I was working really hard to try to get really good grades, so that's what I was mostly focused on. Not realizing that prioritizing yourself is so important and that going to the gym would have been the mental break that I needed at the time. I did this on and off until COVID hit, and when COVID hit, I completely stopped going to the gym at all whatsoever. For the first part of COVID, I think that was totally normal. Everything was shut down, so we couldn't go to the gym anyway, and I actually started running outside because I didn't know what else to do. I really enjoyed running outside during lockdown. It was very peaceful. I was in a spot where I could easily avoid coming within 6 feet of people, so it was really nice to get out once a day and go for a run around the city. Once the summer of 2020 came, I tried going back to the gym, but it was really hard. The gym that I was going to implemented this thing where you had to sign up to go work out, and that made it so much harder. you were late getting to the gym, you had missed your workout, you couldn't show up too early or they wouldn't let you in. It was a very fine line. If you wanted to work out for an hour, you had to be there exactly when your hour started and leave exactly when your hour ended. And what made it even more difficult was only a certain amount of people were allowed in the certain sections of the gym. So even if you did show up and do your workout, sometimes you couldn't even do the workout that you wanted to do because other people had already taken up all of those stations. So that threw my working out during COVID completely out the window. I did not go to the gym again for years after that. And on top of that, I was really stressed out from school, so I just stopped working out altogether. Every now and then I'd go on a walk with a friend, but mostly I would just say I stayed at home, I watched TV on the couch, I didn't move very much, and I was just not active at all. To top it all off, I was incredibly stressed about school and being on and off again in our lab space and on and off again with work, and stress eating became my coping mechanism. So you can imagine not moving a lot, eating a lot of food. I gained a lot of weight during COVID. In early 2022, that's when I started exercising again. I had a friend that invited me to a hot yoga class. It was a free class for the community, and I, at the time, had no idea that it was a hot yoga class. And if I had have known, I probably wouldn't have agreed. But I went to this yoga class thinking it was going to be relaxing and it would be really good for my mental health. And I walked in and the room was heated and I had no idea what to do. I had never done a hot yoga class. I was totally unprepared. I had come in a full set of leggings and a Define jacket, and I did not feel comfortable taking that off. So I did the entire hot yoga class in a Define jacket. It was insane. I honestly don't know how I got through that class. I think it was just adrenaline. But after that, I came back a few more times because I had enjoyed the class, and that's when I fell in love with hot yoga and moving my body again. Hot yoga not only increased my confidence, but it made me fall in love with exercise and my body all over again. In late 2022, my partner Matt and I ended up moving to Toronto, and I didn't have any money because I didn't have a job, so I ended up just going to the gym that we have in my condo building, and that's how I got back into weightlifting again. Now again, I've only been going on and off to the gym for the longest time, and then in 2023, I ended up starting hot yoga again. I also started Weight Watchers around that time, and I was able to lose about 10 to 15 pounds. I quickly realized that Weight Watchers was absolutely not sustainable. I find their point system is not very good. I can get into that more in a later video if you'd like, but their point system wasn't cutting it for me. They did help me lose some weight, but it was not something that I could sustain over months and months to have a longer weight loss journey. I've been going mostly on and off to the gym, trying to be more consistent, but overall that brings me to today. Throughout my fitness journey, I have tracked my calories on and off. I've tried using MyFitnessPal, and I have also tried using Weight Watchers, and I do have a pros and cons video of both of those up on my channel if you'd like to go watch that. I find with MyFitnessPal, if you don't have the premium version, it's difficult, it's harder to use, and with Weight Watchers, I'm just not a fan of their point system. So I have been tracking on and off. Every now and then I'll get some motivation to track, see how many calories I'm eating and my macros and all of that. But I'll end up falling off of the habit of doing it just because it is so mentally and time consuming. Overall with my fitness, I'd say it's been an on and off journey. Go on for a few months or even a few weeks and I'll really stick with it, and then I'll just end up falling off of it again. That's one of my goals for this fall, is to become more consistent with both my tracking and my eating healthy, as well as going to the gym consistently, because I have not been seeing hardly any progress, which is really frustrating when you're kind of like half trying and you're not seeing any progress, and then you're like, why isn't it happening? I'm trying so hard. So you really have to put, I find, your all into it to really see a difference, which is what I want to do this fall. I have been mostly consistent with going to the gym and going to my workout classes this summer, but I have fallen off a little since getting back from my vacation, so it's something that I want to start doing again. My goal for the fall is to go to the gym 4 times a week, make sure I'm tracking my calories so that I can see how much that I'm eating, and I also want to go to at least 1 fitness class per week. I find fall and the back to school season is just such a natural reset point. I'm not going back to school. I don't go back to school anymore, but I feel like it's just ingrained in us from such a young age that September is kind of like that natural reset point. I also find fall, it is not so hot outside, which makes it so much easier to get out and get your steps in, and also go out and get a workout in because it's just not so warm. Starting in September, that means we also get 9 months until summer comes around again, so that gives us 9 months to get to our health and fitness goals. I want this to be a lifestyle change, not just a fad diet. So for me, it's really important that I'm implementing habits that are going to help me in the long term and not just doing some crash diet that I'm going to fall off of in a few months that'll help me see maybe results, but I'm going to gain weight again. I really want this to be a lifestyle choice. I want to take things slow and I want to change things over a long period of time. My ultimate goal is that when I'm 75 or 80 years old, I can still be up and running around with whatever dogs that I have at that time. So changing my lifestyle and implementing these healthy goals is not just going to help me in the short term, but I also want it to help me in the long term. And that brings me to the habits that I'm going to be implementing this fall that are going to help me lose 20 pounds before 2026. I think 20 pounds is a very healthy goal to strive towards. We have 18 weeks until 2026, so that is just over a pound a week. And I think that is such a healthy goal and such an attainable goal that we can definitely get to before 2026. So my first habit is I want to increase my steps to 10,000 steps per day. Now I do work a 9 to 5, so I do have a very busy schedule, and my 9 to 5 is working from home, which makes it harder to get my steps in. But I do have a dog, which makes getting my steps in a little bit more fun. So my goal is to get a walk in with Leo every single morning and every single afternoon. And I am lucky that I do have a walking pad and a standing desk. So I want to get the rest of my steps in while I'm working throughout the day. I feel like this goal is very achievable for me. If it's not that achievable for you, you can lower it or increase it as you see fit. If you've never tracked your steps before, that's totally okay. What I would recommend, and again, I'm not a personal trainer, this is just from personal experience, is that I would track to see how many steps I'm getting per day and then increase it by 10 to 20% per week until you get to the goal of 10,000 or whatever other number you set your step goal to. Habit number 2 is a consistent gym routine. My goal is to go to the gym at least 4 times a week and then go to at least 1 workout class a week. I love going to workout classes. It's just a fun thing to throw in there to break up the rest of your workouts. And I just enjoy being social and going out and hanging out with friends and seeing my friends at a workout studio. And it's just a good time. It really just keeps me motivated to work harder towards my fitness goals. The other 4 days of the week, I'm going to be going to the gym in my condo building. And I do have a plan that I'm following right now. But once that plan is done, I'm going to be switching to a different plan. And I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm not going to share it right now, but if you want to know what it is, you can follow me over on my Instagram, where I'll be sharing my workouts, health and fitness advice, what has worked for me. I'll be sharing my journey over there, so I totally recommend that you go and follow me over on Instagram. And I will also be sharing the workout plan that I switch to once I switch over to it, which will probably be in about a month's time, and I will be sharing that over on my Instagram as well. The third habit that I'm going to be implementing this fall to help me lose weight before 2026 is to track my food intake. It's very easy to underestimate how many calories that I'm eating, so I really just want to be weighing my food and also tracking the calories so that I can make sure I'm sticking to somewhat of a calorie goal throughout the week. I do want to make sure that this is something that's going to be sustainable moving forward for me. This is also a tool that I'm using to help me lose weight. It's not something that I plan on doing every day for the rest of my life. So I really just want to get a baseline of what foods I'm eating and making sure that I'm hitting my protein and my fiber and my calorie goals. And then once I do that, I can take a bit of a break from tracking for a little while and then come back to it. It's something that I feel like you use to kind of check in every few months, and then you can see your progress and see how you're doing, but it's not something that is made to be done forever. If you're struggling with counting calories, then it's totally okay to just skip this habit and go with intuitive eating. Intuitive eating doesn't work for me. I find I eat way too much, but it might work for you, and everybody's different, so you really just have to find what's going to work for you at the end of the day. Habit number 4 is Sunday planning. Now, Sunday planning is something that I implemented back in January, and it is something that I really enjoy, but I haven't really been sticking to throughout the summer months. On Sundays, I want to sit down and I want to plan out my entire week. That means I want to be planning out my workouts, what workout classes I'm going to go to, what foods I'm going to be eating. That's also the day that I do all of my grocery shopping. And I've also been getting factor meals, which really helps with my meal prepping. So Sunday's the day that I just want to clean and organize and prep for the week, as well as prepping for the other things that I have going on in my life, so that I can go into Monday feeling well rested and well prepared for the week. And habit number 5 is to drink a lot more water. Goal is to be drinking 1.5 liters of water per day. Right now, I'm drinking 1 Stanley per day, which I think is around 30 ounces. So I definitely want to increase the amount of water that I'm consuming. Water helps keep me full throughout the day. It decreases my cravings, and it's also just good to stay hydrated. So increasing my water consumption is something that I really want to focus on as well. A few things that I want to mention before I end this video is that success is more than just numbers, and you are worth more than your weight. Checking your weight on the scale is not going to be showing you the entire picture. So throughout this process, I'm also going to be taking progress photos. I also have a DEXA scan coming up in October that's going to tell me my exact body composition. To me, this is more than just a fad diet. This is a lifestyle change that I want to implement over a few months, and I want to be able to see some progress. My goal is to not just lose 20 pounds before 2026, but I want to keep going after and into 2026. So I really just want to be healthy at the end of the day. I want to be at a healthy weight. I want to feel good. I want to move my body. I want to have the flexibility and the mobility that allows me to do things in my life. So this is really a lifestyle change for me, and the goal is big picture. So I'm looking at when I'm older, I still want to be able to do the things that I want to do. I also want the habits that I'm implementing to go into my busy schedule. I have a really busy schedule, as I mentioned before. I'm sure you do too. So it's really important that you're implementing these smaller habits throughout the day to help us maintain our weight loss, or we're never going to be able to stick with it. And of course, at the end of the day, what really matters is that I'm happy and that I feel confident in my skin. How you feel is way more important than how you look on the outside, so that's really what I'm going towards, is feeling confident and working towards the best version and the happiest version of myself. If you want to see these habits play out in my day-to-day life, I will link one of my vlogs down below where I talk about how I implement these habits throughout my busy schedule. Just keep in mind that it's totally okay if you don't do every one of these habits every single day. And remember, it's all about consistency, not about perfection. Life has its ups and downs, and it's totally okay if you miss a day here or there. You don't have to completely change your life to lose weight. You just have to find little habits that you can implement in your day-to-day life. And remember, this is all about health and wellness over the long term and changing our lifestyle, not about just jumping into a fad diet just to lose weight. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Over the next few months, I will be documenting my entire weight loss and my fitness journey right here on this channel. And I would love it if you joined me. Comment down below what fitness goals you're currently working on, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!